Why is silver set to outperform gold? Some are saying as much as 9x in 2025. Can you imagine? Okay, so let's dive into it. So is your silver, do you have silver at home? Maybe you've got silver at home, for example, or do you feel that silver is going to skyrocket? Now, some of you do have coins, and congratulations, well done to you, because you've really started and you're starting to save your coins. As well as some of you have got bars, for example, gold. You've got silver bars, for example. So is silver about to skyrocket? Why do you think that these central banks are hoarding gold at record levels? I'm talking about tons here. And what does that actually mean? Because they're making massive withdrawals from London vaults, for example, going straight to New York. Or what does this mean for investors? So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about looking at the current state of gold and silver markets. So if you're looking for insights on precious metals, for example, or where it's heading, for example, then this is how you can learn how to protect your investments, for example. I'm referring to gold, physical gold and silver in your hand, for example, because I class that as a solid investment right now. So gold and silver trends. So what's happening now? We're seeing it, we're hearing it a lot about gold and silver, Fort Knox, vaults, countries getting their gold back, people buying coins and gold bars, for example. What is this all about? Why are people doing that? It's because of the recession, the inflation. Now listen, we have gone through not we. Recessions have been around for a long time. I've been through 3 recessions in my lifetime, actually 4 now in my lifetime. So they say that recessions come around every 5 to 7 years, for example. And I believe that's true because I've seen it in my own personal and business life, for example. But if you had gold resilience in economic uncertainty, wow, you would be unstoppable. So gold does continue to prove itself as a safe haven. And this is really a good asset to have. And I'm not talking about the stock markets. I'm not talking about Bitcoin. I'm not talking about cryptocurrency, because I do not have a clue about that. I'm not here giving financial advice either, or stock market investments advice, for example. But what I do know is from what I'm listening to, but also from what I have done in 2007, for example. And by looking at this, you can actually overcome inflation. And the risk, the monetary risk, really shifts in a way that is secure for you, for example. So listen, central banks worldwide, for example, there's China, there's Russia, they're increasing their gold mines. New York, for example, UK, America, everyone's trying to do this right now. So this is signaling that there is growing confidence in gold as a hedge against currency devaluation. Look, we're seeing the pound go down, right? You look at the stock markets, things are going down. Stock market stocks are going down. And they're seeing it that the gold and the silver is the safe bet. And the silver is actually becoming the dark horse that you would not expect to win that race, for example. So it could be that silver is going to overtake gold. So silver's dual role, okay? It's industrial and it's also an investment demand. So industrial wise, it is to do with manufacturing, it is to do with renewable energy, it's to do with electronics, it's to do with tech, it's to do with green economy, for example. Whereas silver can also be used for investing. Silver at the moment is at $35 per ounce, for example. So silver's potential for long-term growth, especially as supply tightens, it really is amazing, and I'm super excited. So the recent London Vault silver drainage, they call it, because they took the bars, the gold bars, for example, and withdrew the gold bars. So it was like tons and tons were withdrawn. And this also raised concerns about the future availability and pricing, because when the demand is hard to get, that makes the price go up. So apparently silver is easy to get, but really the manufacturing of silver mines, there's not many of them around, and it is going to run out soon if they can't find it anymore, for example. So think about it. Why would big organizations, wealthy corporations, government organizations, for example, why would they be at such a rush to buy gold? As we all know, tariffs are being put on countries around the world, and it's making it a bit unstable. It's making it, you don't know what's happening. It's like a yo-yo type of effect. But the London Vault silver drain is a key here. So one of the largest withdrawals in history signals a tightening of supplies. So this could actually mean that the rise is on demand and it outspaces availability. So think of choosing physical silver over the ETFs or paper silver. Having it in your hand or where you can see it, where it's easy accessible, is the best place to have it. Some have home vaults, for example. Some have them stored somewhere else in a bank, for example, which is local to them, for example, where they haven't got far to go, because sometimes you don't want to keep it at home, depending on whether it's silver and gold, for example. So could we be seeing a silver sequence similar to 2021? So some analysts, they do believe that this is possible. So how are the central banks reshaping this precious metal market? Central banks are moving away from fiat currency reliance, making gold a primary reserve asset. China are accumulating gold, while European banks are facing some withdrawal concerns in gold trading, for example. So the London Bullion Market, known as the LBMA, which is short for the London Bullion Market Association, may soon face some regulatory changes due to the increased demand for physical gold. So what does that mean for investors? Gold may see a substantial upward trend. And this will be the same with silver, because gold is also pulling silver along as well. Precious metals. So there is a retail shortage, for example, of higher premium and inventory shortages. So wholesalers, resellers struggle to maintain inventory as central banks and institutions' purchases rise. So rising premiums make it harder for everyday investors to buy gold and silver at a reasonable price. And this is why I'm doing this video today, is to make you aware that, you know, these big organization and government organization, they're trying to take as much gold as possible, as much silver as possible, for example. Yeah? Buy both. Buy both if you can. But if you can't, then buy silver, because it is going to go up in value. And I'm not saying this it's going to go up instantly. You know, look at it as a long-term project, say 10 years time, for example. But you could even look at it even sooner if you need to dip into it. Use it as a safety net, or to give to a loved one or family member, for example. So, like I said, there's rise in premiums. So it's making it harder for everyday investors to buy gold and silver at a reasonable price. Now, for a quarter of an ounce, like a gold coin, for example, it can be like $800, for example, for a gold coin. Whereas the silver ounce is about $35. But yet this could end up being 9x than what it is. So that's why I'm doing these videos, to try and get you to buy them as early as you possibly can. Because remember, or maybe you don't remember, last year I talked about, in September, I said that we need to start building a crisis fund and start putting money to one side for, in the eventuality we get hit with inflation. I was trying to create strategies to help you to beat the inflation. Well, this is one way of beating inflation, and that is by getting gold and silver. Imagine that you're saving, you're buying these gold coins monthly, for example, and then you can turn them, you can even buy gold bars, for example. And imagine years later that it actually is worth, say, something like 10 times of what you've paid for. That's a good investment, right? So think about the shift in consumer behavior. Investors are looking for silver bars and alternative bullion as traditional coins become scarce. So think about what type of gold and silver that you want to purchase and turn into a coin or into a gold bar or silver bar. The reason why I say this is because you can do like where you start a gold and silver business where you buy scrap gold. And this is one of the things that I'm offering, is a masterclass, a boot camp on how to buy scrap gold, how to hold scrap gold, scrap silver parties. If you can't afford to purchase right now, or possibly it's becoming scarce, then look, you can actually create they used to do gold parties many years ago, and I did it in 2007, for example. And my video that I have is so old that uh, I'm trying to get the courage to show it to you, because it's really bad. I don't want to show it. It really is bad, but I might show you a little bit of it so that you can see that I actually did do it, right? So it was my husband that wanted to do it, and we were like, yeah, let's give it a go. So we was doing these gold parties where we were going around to people's houses. They would bring, say, 10 friends to the house, for their house, for example, and I would bring like a bottle of wine, and the guests would do some snacks, some nibbles, for example, and then they would bring broken jewelry, for example, old jewelry, broken jewelry, for example, that they can't use because maybe they've lost an earring, so they've got the other earring and it's no good, for example, or maybe it's an earring back, or maybe it's a piece of chain that's broken off, maybe it's a clasp, maybe it's like I said, possibly a bangle that is broken or bent, where it can't be, fixed nicely, for example. So they would bring their jewelry. Then I would then have my scales, and then I would weigh, at the price of what the gold or silver was on the day, for example. But I also would test it with acid test. I'd make sure that it was gold, for example, or it was silver, for example. Okay, I would look at the trademarks and things like that. So I had my book, I had my testing kit, I also have my scales, for example, and then I would have my bags, my gold bags that I would put the gold in, so it was separate. If it was 9, if it's UK, that is, if it was 10, 12, 14, for example, 18, 20 to 24, for example. And what used to happen is that they'd give me their gold, I would weigh it, and then I would say, okay, well, this is what the price is currently at the moment. I'd have a book, because back then, internet was just creeping in a big way, but it's not like you had a laptop that you could carry around with you, so you were kind of like, okay, and mobile phones aren't like how they were today, for example. So you'd have a book, and then you'd know what the cost of the scrap gold was at the time, for example, and then you would then give the person the money for what they gave you as the broken jewelry, and they would sign for it to say that they gave it to you. You'd have their name, etc. Just in case. I always like to, cover myself, for example. And then at the end of the night, you'd have like a bag of gold or bag of silver, or both, for example. Then what you would then do is you can speak with a refinery, have a good relationship with a refinery company, and they can melt it down into coins or into gold bars, for example. So I would do both, for example. Now imagine it didn't cost me like it would if I was to buy it from a bullion dealer, for example, because at the end of the day, I'm just interested that it's gold and it's pure gold as much as it can be, the 9.999%, for example. And same with the silver, that it's silver. I wasn't saying, oh, it must have this special, motif on. All I wanted was what you usually see, for example. So imagine that you're buying scrap gold, right? Doing these parties every single month, for example, because you need to, have friends or persons that you can do the gold party with, for example, and then they bring people to the guest house, for example. Another way I brought gold and silver was on eBay. I was buying things online, and I was doing bids, auctions, all of that. And it was fun. I really enjoyed it. We really did enjoy it. And we would have the gold arrive or the silver arrive, for example. And then we would then take it to London to get it melted down, for example, and put into gold bars, silver bars, for example. And that basically was the way to get the gold turned into bars or into coins. And you can do the same thing as well. And what I will do is I'll put a free guide here, just a small guide about how you can start a gold business, for example, without, spending loads of money, for example, buying things monthly. If you put like, $100 a month, $100 a month, or maybe 800 a month, it depends how much you've got access wise to spend, for example. So then you're building up your stock, for example, and it's a lot more safer than currently at the moment than doing stocks and shares. The value is going up, so it's going up and up and up and up, and now is the time to get gold and silver. I'd love to know what your thoughts are on gold and silver. Do you already collect coins? Do you already have gold bars or silver bars? Because silver is really becoming the stronger force as well. Because yes, gold is very valuable, don't get me wrong, retail value, but silver has got a dual purpose. So the need is higher. So surely that's going to make things go up like tenfold. It wouldn't surprise me. Gold at the moment, it is 2,900 for 1 ounce, for example. I believe it's going to be like 3,000, then 5,000, then 15,000, then $20,000. With silver, it's 35, then it'll probably go to 50, then it'll probably go to 100, then even up to $800 or more for an ounce. So this is a good investment to have, to either get the coins or turn them into gold bars or silver bars. Back in 2017, Fort Knox sparked a huge debate on US gold reserves. And something similar is happening today. So imagine the comparison of having the gold. People want the gold or the silver. They want to see it. They don't want it on paper. They don't want it, 50,000 miles away. They want it close to where they are, so that if they need to be able to get hold of money, for example, liquid cash, then they've got their gold bars or coins, for example, because that's how it used to be in the old days. They would have like a bag of coins, wouldn't they, for example, or they'll say, I'll give you this bag of coins for blah, 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 for example. And that is where we're going. So instead of, think about how you could build your gold reserve, build your own Fort Knox. Imagine that. Imagine the feeling of that. Imagine building your own gold and silver stock. You could have a home safe, secure, or you have it away from your home, because I would suggest that you do that, not where you live, for example. Unless you don't have that option, then that is entirely up to you. But you make sure that it's safe. Many years ago, people used to, put money in a mattress, didn't they? That's how it was years ago. But now things have changed. Money is devaluing, and by you having a stock of silver and gold, imagine that feeling that you're going to have. Imagine, we don't know what our pension is going to be when it comes to our pension time, do we? We don't know really how much we're going to get. We could miss out on some of it because of inflation, for example. I'm not saying that to scare anybody. I'm just being factual after what I've been witnessing over the last couple of months, for example. So imagine that you're buying your own gold and silver bars. You're taking your time, you're building up your scrap gold or scrap silver. You're building it up month by month, and then you buy a gold bar, or you buy a silver bar, or you buy both because you've been buying scrap gold, for example. And then imagine, this could be, 10 years later when it's your retirement. You've got your retirement, but you've also got gold and silver, which is an asset that you can use to protect yourself. So you're not just living day to day, check to check. Why not give yourself that bit of extra security and cushion? Because although people have put things in stock, and I'm not a stock market kind of gal anyway, I don't know about it enough. I tried it once and I lost money, for example, and I couldn't rest because I was constantly looking at how the stock market was doing. It was causing me not to sleep. So I didn't like that feeling. But with this, it's a different feeling. And you know that when you've got that gold or that silver, it's there. It's yours. It's not going up and down because it's there. It's static. It's physically there. You can hold it. You can see what the price is, every month. Check out what your gold is. You're not going to stress about it. You're not going to be thinking, oh, has it gone down today? Let me check the stock market. Has it gone up? Oh, you're not going to do that. You may once every 3 months, oh, let me just check, see what the gold prices are. And it could have, it should have gone up slightly, for example. But with the way things are at the moment, it is really going to just shoot for the stars. Silver, because of the demand, look, we've got electric vehicles. They need silver. There's the solar panels. That needs silver to operate. There's the Apple, the industries, they need silver to operate. There's so many things that we're using silver for in a manufacturing way. There's the energy that silver is used for to create energy. There's AI that is needed. There's silver is needed to create AI. The chips and things like that. These companies need it desperately. Otherwise, their business would not be able to function if they didn't have silver. So what do you think is going to happen? They're going to be panicking because there's only so many silver mines, and they're going to run out of silver eventually, aren't they? Because they're building at such mass that surely it's going to become a high price to get it, because it's scarcity. Scarcity creates that value. Remember when Apple first came out with their iPhones, for example, and you could only buy, I don't know if this is applied to you, but you could only buy one Apple phone when it first came out per person. Do you remember that? I remember taking my family with me and saying, can you please buy one? Because I was, buying and selling at the time. And what I remember is the price was high because they created that scarcity, didn't they? Because they only made so many, as far as we know. We don't know the full facts, but there was only so many that Apple made. But Apple, those companies, need silver in order to sell their products. What else is silver used for? Like I said, the electronic vehicles, for example, the AI, the renewable energy that has to be created for AI, and the chips, because it has to be with silver, unless they're going to make another type of material. But those are the best ones, the ones that come from the ground, isn't it, rather than man-made. Cash is devaluing, as we know. It's devaluing, but gold and silver is not. It's holding its value. And with silver, like I said, it's got a dual purpose. It's needed for manufacturing. It's needed for industries as well as retail. We like to wear silver, don't we? For example, silver is something that can be put into coins. You can make it as a coin, buy it as a coin, various types of coins, and same with gold. But like I said, with the silver, it definitely is going to be high demand, but then so is gold, because the big organizations are buying these gold bars, for example, and the countries are having it shipped back to their country or flown over back to their country, so they've got access to their reserves. Because there's no point it being in another country's reserve. And that's why I'm saying the same for you, to do the scrap gold parties, scrap silver gold parties, or buy the coins, or buy the gold bars. I'm just trying to give you every angle that you can use to make this work for you, because it does work. When you melt down, gold is gold at the end of the day. Don't matter if you've got it from a bullion dealer. There's nothing special with that. Gold is gold, because once it's melted down and formed, it's still the same thing. There's nothing special. It's not a designer bag type of thing. And yes, of course, if you get it from a bullion dealer, they're going to stamp it in a special way. You're going to get special papers with it. There's going to be, a valuation with it and all of that. But you can take it to a refinery and they can melt down your gold and your silver for you and give you the paperwork. And it has to be a reputable, well, I don't know of reputable refineries. You can even melt your own gold and silver yourself. And I am going to be doing some videos showing you about how this works. I'm not going to be melting it. I'm going to get the companies to do it, and I will get it filmed so you can see it firsthand for yourself. I am telling you to start a scrap gold party. Seriously, if you've got the time. If you haven't, make time. Just do it on a Saturday evening, for example, or on a Tuesday evening. Find out when the person can hold the party, or even you hold it yourself. You can hold that party yourself, and people can come and bring their jewelry, broken jewelry, to you. That is, I'll show you, I've got one here that's broken, for example. Like this is an earring that's broken, it's bent. It's gold, but it's very delicate and it's bent. So I can't get that fixed. So this would then become scrap gold, for example. Because I can't get it fixed. So it's now become scrap gold. Or there could be like an earring where it's broken off in two and it's completely broken and you can't fix it, for example. Or the earring back, or like I said, a broken chain. There's lots of different things that you can, a bracelet, there's lots of different things that you can sell and buy, sorry. So like I said, you can get gold and you can get silver. There's plenty of dealers out there that are reputable. I would say go and visit rather than just buy it online. You want to see what you're getting. That's just me. And I'm just saying that's just how I am. I would definitely want to see what I'm going to spend, especially if I was giving 800 for an ounce, sorry, for a quarter ounce coin. I would want to know what that is. I'd want to see it and really talk to the person and get the paperwork to go with it, for example. But imagine you're doing your scrap gold. You're holding a party once a month, and that one party could give you a gold bar in the space of 2-3 months, for example, because you need quite a lot of gold to melt it down. And like I said, I'm going to be showing you how you can create your own scrap gold business. Because when you take your gold, even if you take your gold to a pawnbroker, for example, they'll take the stone out of the jewelry, for example, put it to one side. That's still valuable, so you put that to one side, but then the rest gets melted down into gold bars or gold coins, for example. You know, that there's so many ways that you can, you know, make something from silver and gold. But I do believe that silver is going to outperform gold eventually, because there's less silver than what there is gold. And although the governments around the world are buying these gold bars, for example, and coins, and having them delivered and, you know, flown over to their countries of where they belong, for example, they're having to wait weeks. It's not instant. It's not like they can order it today and get it tomorrow. They have to wait weeks for it. So that's why I say, to when you're doing your gold and silver business, for example, you know, you're collecting gold and silver, you want to be able to see it. You want it to be accessible. You want to be able, you don't want to have to say, oh, can I have my gold bars, please? Because then it could take weeks for you to get it. Because what used to happen is that they used to, if another country like the UK, they've got their vault, for example, but America would give the UK the gold bars, and then there'd be an interest charge each month, for example. And now what America's done is they've asked for all of their gold back, and it's going to New York, for example, but it's not quick. They ordered it in January, We've got big organizations, they're buying tons of gold, tons of silver. And if they're doing that right now, then, well, we all know we're in inflation anyway. We know this is like the recession is here because the pound, the dollar, for example, has gone down in value, and we all see that when we go to the shops. We see that when we go to the supermarkets, and our food has increased, for example. So why not purchase your own gold and silver bars monthly? I'm not saying to go and spend everything that you've got. Spend what you can afford each month and see it as a savings account, like as if to say you was going to put money in the bank, you know, like your 10%. Try putting that towards your coins or your silver or your gold bars, for example. But if you are willing to look online, you can buy scrap gold as well as holding gold parties where you can get people to even come to you and bring their gold, for example. Or you can go to their house and they host and they bring people that have got gold that they want to give for money, of course, not give away, but for money. And then you come out with a gold bag and you come out with a silver bag. And then once you've got enough gold, then you can turn them into bars or you can turn them into coins. And like I said, I believe that silver is like the tortoise that is winning the hare. Do you remember the hare and the tortoise story, whereby the tortoise won the race? I believe that silver is the one that's going to win the race in the end. And this is for long-term investment. Just like if you was putting something into a stock for a pension, for example, then why not do the same with gold and silver, for example, so that when the time comes when you need it, you've got it. It's there for you to use as you want to. Imagine, I started, well, my husband, he was the one that was doing the gold and silver parties, and I was the one that went along with him to help him with the weighing and acid testing the actual metal itself, making sure it was real, for example. And then it was so exciting, we'd take it to London and get it melted down, you know, refinery, reputable refinery, for example, get it melted down, then we get the signature, for example. If I still had those gold bars today, they would have been worth about 158,000. And that was just 3 gold bars. So imagine the value after 10 years, for example, that you can get. Because when you're looking at if you're looking at your pension, for example, you get so much with a pension each month, but you may not get your full pension, or your loved ones may not get your full pension. There may be a reduction of some sort, like 25%, depending on what year you take your pension. Sometimes if you take a pension early, then you get less each month. Whereas if you've got like gold bars, gold coins, all of those things, you can just trade some in and say, I'm going to go on holiday, I want to treat myself, rather than living like month to month, check to check. There's a lot more that you can do. Or maybe you've got children that want to go to college, for example. You can pay for their college fee for the year, and they don't have to get a student loan, for example. or there's a wedding, and you can give as a gift a gold bar. Imagine how they would feel. And they could use that to pay for their wedding, for example. You haven't got to stress as the parent trying to find this money for a wedding, for example. There's so many things that gold and silver can be used for that's going to be versatile. I highly recommend that you start looking at this now before the race. The race is on already. You should be able to see it all around you, the stock markets. You should be able to see that the governments are, flying and shipping over their gold back into their own vaults. That's a sign. That's a sign that this is about to explode. It's exploding anyway, because gold, for 1 ounce of gold being $2,900, for example, and it's going to be $3,000 soon, and then it's going to be like $5,000, and then $15,000, then then $20,000 for an ounce. Think about it. And then silver is definitely going to have to 9x, definitely, because it's being used industrial wise. I mean, these AI and these data centers and these chips that they're all talking about, it takes silver. Robots take silver. Solar panels take silver. Apple products takes silver. There's silver in these products, and it needs to be available. So the price is going to go up, and it's going to create scarcity. So now is the time to really start buying them, ready for when and if you do need to use it in an emergency, or maybe you just want to keep it so that you've got it for a rainy day, or you want to save it for your retirement, or imagine that you've got these gold bars and 10 years later you're like, right, I'm going to put money down on a house or an apartment, for example. Or maybe you may want to give it to your children. Here's some gold bars. Let's get this evaluated. Let's turn that into some money so that you can buy your house or apartment, for example. So many things that this can be used for. Like I said, it's not something that's like a get-rich-quick scheme overnight, but it depends how you decide to use it and how you really monitor the value. For example, it's a lot easier than handling stock, looking at the stocks and shares and things like that, because people's pensions have gone into SP 500s, for example. The stock market, things are tumbling, and yes, they'll start going up again, but when is that going to happen? We don't know. But I can tell you, and I'm sure you know as well, you see it, that the governments are grabbing their gold. They're grabbing their gold and silver. They want it in their hands, so that if they need it, they can use it, because they know that the dollar and the pound has gone right down. It's devalued. So this is why the gold and silver is more valuable, and it stands the test of time. Silver has been around for 5,000 years. It is the most trusted metal that you could ever have, because we all know of gold and silver. Back in the old days, when a child was born, you would give them a coin, wouldn't you? You'd give them like a silver coin, for example, or a pound, for example. Depends what year it was. Now, if you had like a 20 pence piece in the UK that was 1983, for example, I'm just trying to think the name of it. It's a coin. It's a 20 pence piece. 1983. If you've got one of those, check out the value of what that could possibly be right now, because it's a rare coin. Check it out. I don't want to say anything, but it's worth thousands. A 20 pence, 20p coin, UK, with the Queen on it, 1983. It's got 1983 on there. It is worth a lot of money right now. If you've got old coins that were given to you, check them out. See what they are, because you could be sitting on things that are thousands of pounds. You know, coins that go out of existence, for example, because, you know, things change. It could be something that you've got that's valuable right now. And I would suggest that you check out your old coins. Check them out, because I'll tell you something, like that one from 1983, which wasn't long ago to me anyway. A 20 pence coin with the Queen on it is worth thousands of dollars. So that is something that I would say to you all to think about. And that's why I'm saying to you that silver will outperform gold. It really already is, if you have got the right coin, for example. But even if you start today, it's going to grow in value over time. And like I said, gold and silver, they will stand the test of time. Money won't. Money is man-made, as we know, and gold and silver is in the ground. There's so much mineral. This is why people fight over these things, don't they? But we really want it so that we want a better life for ourselves. Not for greed, but because we want a better life for ourselves and for our family, for our loved ones, for society. You know, it is something that even for your business, if you've got a business, then please, please, please start saving now. I spoke about this in September last year. Save 10%, but put it into gold and silver so that if and when you get hit by a crisis in your business, then you'll be able to survive. You have got so much. There's been that many recessions. Like I said, I've been through 4. This is my 4th one from when I was 20 odd, for example. It's my 4th one, recession. And recessions come round every 5, according to, I'm going to put some links here anyway, every 5 to 10 years. But they say 5 to 7 years because it's getting kind of closer now than what it was years ago. It's nothing new. What we've got to learn is we've got to look for when these signs are happening and start reacting before we get slammed with it. And that's what I was talking about last year in September. We knew that the inflation was happening. We knew it. We just was kind of hoping it wasn't going to happen. But if we can learn how to combat these inflations, then it won't drag us down. to a point where it affects your life, the rest of your life. So this is why I'm so strong in saying, get yourself some gold and silver. Start today buying silver coin for $35, for example. Start with that, because the silver is going to go up. It definitely is. And some are saying 9x and more. And these are specialists that are saying this, not me. It isn't just coming from what I'm saying. I know it's going to go up, because it always has done. Gold has always gone up. Gold has always been the strongest contender, whereas with silver it's like the poor relative, but it's still hanging on in there. But it's like the tortoise and the hare, and I believe that the silver is going to outperform gold in a big, massive way than what we'd ever imagined. And now is the time to do it, because in a couple of years' time, that price is probably going to be horrendous to buy. So it's time to start investing in that. Whatever little amount of money you've got, even, get together with relatives or something and put that money together and start buying together. Get an agreement, of course, because you don't want to fall out over something. Or maybe you say, right, okay, I'm going to have this coin this month and you can have it the next month. You could do it that way. You could do like a partner program, like how things were done back in the day. When you'd have a group of people at work, for example, and then each person would pay, say, $10 a month, for example. And then if there's 20 people, then one person out of that 20 people would get, 20 times 10, for example, to help them to buy something. And it would just go round in a circle. Someone would be in charge, of course, and then there'd be a deputy. But you can do things in that way, gold and silver in that way. But boy, oh boy, if you can do the scrap gold business, whew, that is the key. That way you're not going online, like trying to find, because when it gets to a point where it becomes scarcity, it's then hard to get it online. So you want to meet and speak with your community, get to know your community, get to know who your dealers are, for example, that specialize in this. But also, you start doing your own gold and silver parties. Just one a month. Just one a month. Yeah, you're going to be there 3-4 hours or even more. But you'll have fun doing it, and you've made yourself some money. And the people that you've met with, they've enjoyed themselves and they've made a bit of money from broken jewelry. It's a win-win situation. And then when you then take it to a refinery and they turn it into a gold bar or a coin, or coins, if you want them in coins, then do it that way. But I would do the gold bar thing, or silver bar. The feeling is just out of this world. You will feel so elated. You'll be so proud of yourself, of what you've achieved, and you haven't. Listen, if the big organizations can do this, then why can't you have your own vault? Build your own vault. Why can't you have your own Fort Knots? Why should they have it and you can't have it? You can do it in a smart way, and there's a lot of you that are doing this already. You're buying the coins, and I think it's amazing that you're doing this already. Some of you are giving a coin to a family member if it's a birthday or Christmas, for example, and then they've got this savings of coins from an early age, and they're saving that, and that can go towards something really special even a car or a down payment on a house or an apartment, for example. This is what you can do. And we know that the inflation is here, but imagine if we start fighting against it by getting these gold and silver coins, for example, gold bars, silver bars, for example. And if you can't afford to, purchase things, start off with silver. It's cheaper. Start off with gold parties. That's cheaper as well. So, for example, you could say if someone's got a broken gold piece of jewelry, for example, you weigh it, and then you can say, right, I'll give you $1, for example. You're not giving them the retail price, you're giving them the spot price, for example. So there's so many different ways that you can build your own gold and silver stock. But like I said, that silver is a dark horse, and it's going to come up and it's going to be huge, because the big organizations, they really don't want you buying their silver because they need it for their products, for their manufacturing, for their industry in that way, for their solar panels, for their renewable energy, for AI, for chips, all of these big organizations that are billionaires, for example, they need the silver. So the price is being kept really low, but now the race is on with this AI and all the other industry manufacturing that's going on, the EV batteries, electronic vehicle batteries, for example, they need silver. So they want it to be low. But it's going to go up in price now. So you have got a chance to buy it at a low price, and then it's going to hold its value and more. Maybe they may come to you and say, if you've got any gold, if you've got any silver, I'll buy it at this price. Or what you can do is you can see if you can lend it to them and say, I'm going to charge you 16%, for example, if you want it. It may get to a stage like that one day. We don't know, do we? When the gold and silver becomes a scarcity, they're going to start approaching yourselves and say, can you lend me this and I will give you the interest. Well, actually, you're going to have to sell it to them. You can't lend it to them because they're going to need to use it. So that's not going to work. Squash that, what I just said, because that doesn't even make sense, for example. But imagine you can have your own vault. You can have your own Fort Knox. You just got to do it like a lot of people are doing right now. They're buying their gold. They're going into the shop, dealers' shops, and they are literally buying silver. They're buying a silver bar, for example, or gold or whatever, for example, and they're doing that instead of putting their savings into a bank account. That's what they're using it for. They're going to these dealers and buying different types of coins and things like that that's going to be worth something, for example. It holds their value. Like I said, gold stands the test of time. 5,000 years it's been around for, and we're still using it today, and it's worth a lot of money. 2,900 for an ounce of gold. That is amazing. It didn't used to be that high when I started in 2007. So I hope that was helpful for you all, and thank you for being here. I'd love to know, are you a dealer, or are you buying gold? Are you buying silver right now, or are you thinking of doing that? I'm going to put a free guide here about how you can start a gold silver business. It's a free guide. I would love for you to book a free 15-minute appointment as well. I'd even love it even more if you're able to join our gold and silver bootcamp, where we show you how to create your own gold silver business, for example, holding your own parties, building up your stock, building your own Fort Knots. Isn't that wonderful? So join me for my video again tomorrow. I'm going to be going a bit more into some of the things that you need to consider when you're starting your gold business, for example. And I hope that you've enjoyed it. Thank you for your likes. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for your subscriptions, for subscribing to the channel. I'd love to know your comments. What do you think? Do you think that gold is going to be outdone by silver? Do you think that silver is like the tortoise? And do you think that the gold is like the hare? And do you think the tortoise is going to end up winning the race by silver outperforming gold? Because it's being predicted that it's going to be 9x more than what it is today. So if it is, for example, $35, for example, that means $35, it'll turn to $315 for an ounce. Huge, big difference. Imagine you pay $35 for something and then it's worth $315. Imagine if you've got quite a few of those and you brought yourself, say, I'm just gonna say 10. That's 3,150. Buy them before the price goes really high. That's what I suggest to all of you. Okay, but this is your decision. You know, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a business owner. And I'm a business owner that has done gold scrap parties many years ago in 2007. And I believe that it's time for it to bring it back again. Bring it back. People will love it. So I hope that you've enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for being here, and I look forward for you to, hopefully you'll be able to join me live tomorrow as well as I go through the journey of gold and silver. I think it's a really strong subject that we need to be aware of to beat inflation. This is because if we don't start looking at this now, then the price is going to get too high and then you may miss out on it. So this is the reason why I'm talking so much about it, because I want you to be able to benefit from this. So thank you so much. I will be going live again tomorrow. Hope you'll be able to join me. Thank you for your time. I know your time is precious, and I hope that that you've learned a few things as well. I'm going to be putting the free guide in here in the description as well for you to download and have a read of. The links are here as well for you to book a free appointment as well if you want to learn about a gold party strategy that you can use as well to get started. Listen, you can even buy them on eBay, online auctions. Brilliant. Even go to an auction house. There's so many different places that you can go to. All right, and this is what I want to be able to talk to you about more in depth so that you can do this for yourself. All right, so thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful, blessed day, and I look forward to hopefully speaking with you tomorrow. Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you. Bye.